Welcome back to the Toy Room. It's great to see you again. Today we're going to talk about Auburn Rubber Toys. In 1913, the Double Fabric Tire Company started up in Auburn, Indiana. In the 1920s, they changed their name to Auburn Rubber Company. It wasn't until 1935 that they started producing rubber toys. And as legend has it, in 1959, organized crime penetrated the legitimate toy industry. I guess even big-time crime likes their toys. And in a deal, they moved the company from Auburn to Deming, New Mexico. By 1969, the Deming Auburn Rubber Company was out of business. My own personal connection with Auburn Toys begins before I can even remember. In this family slide from around 1960, I'm obviously distressed by the girls around me, but as you can see, in my right hand, I'm clutching what appears to be a small Auburn toy. What the heck am I crying about? Amongst my earliest memories up at the lake cabin, I remember this red thing with black wheels and the strange word Auburn. I didn't know what it was or where it came from. It was only clear to me that it was incomplete, and incomplete or broken toys always made me sad. Don't even get me started on the island of misfit toys. Several decades later, I came across something in an antique shop that revived this memory. I purchased it and brought it home. They are together now. Red and yellow, yellow and red. I know what it is now. It's an earth mover. I feel good about it. It is complete, and I am at peace. Another toy mystery solved. The Auburn toys were simple yet very creative in their design. They really only had 7 parts: the body and the 4 wheels and the 2 axles. And here you can see that this cost either 33 or 39 cents, so what a bargain that was. They also used silver paint for detailing on the windshields, the grills, and in this case the ladders on this telephone truck, this Auburn telephone truck. And these toys were always kind of weird to me, because here you see, here's the driver on the one side, and then I always wondered, well, you can't see him from the front. And this particular truck, I remember Greg Gaxter had one. His was in green and it had yellow wheels. And at the Gaxters, they had a dirt driveway out in the back, and we used to play trucks, and we made roads and the equivalent of little houses and parking lots and drove around. We usually had Tonka trucks, but Greg would bring out his green telephone truck, and of course wasn't the same scale, but it was always fun to play trucks and grade roads and drive them around. Love that. Auburn toys seem to be ubiquitous in the background of our lives. I can't say I ever remember where any of these came from, and I remember this particular one, and this is the one that Tom and I actually had when we were kids, and it was just always around, and I know there was a string tied on here that I took off, because I think we always liked to tie strings to things and drag them around. But this has some nice detail on it. You can see there's a little guy in there with some kind of a big machine gun on the front of this half track there. So like I say, there's nice detailing on this. Another popular and sort of common piece was the farm tractor, and here we see it in 2 colors here, green and red. And these Auburn toys were always kind of weird to me, because they had yellow tires, and even as a kid, you know, I knew that most of the time in the real world, vehicles had black tires. A very popular favorite was the Auburn Policeman on a Motorcycle, and it came in a variety of colors, and there was a larger version of a somewhat different design. I like the Auburn cars that have little molded people sitting in the front seat of open cars here, and here appears to be a man and his wife, and I'm sure that she's giving him directions somewhere. Another somewhat common design are the hot rods, and here I have a green and a red one, and this grandpa is really taking off in this rod. I notice now that these look to be the same in most part, but they have different numbers. There's a 6 and one's a 3. And here we see it from the other side, and I guess these guys can take off and have a little race. This one looks to be a little older, and it has some nice detailing on it. You see it's a rescue vehicle, as you can see here on the hood as indicated. And it has a guy on the side, and again, where is he? And so you see it's got some nice detailing, and when you're a rescue vehicle, of course, you have to have a shovel and a pickaxe. And there you go. Here's a nice big fire engine, pretty substantial, again with the detailing on the side and some silver detailing here, and we can see that from the top. And of course, this is the Auburn Fire Department, as all these things are associated with Auburn. This is sort of a green, generic looking truck, and it's labeled Auburn on the side. And what's interesting is it has white tires. I hadn't remembered seeing white tires on anything, and I think these came out towards the end of the company's run. And they're a little lighter weight. I think these were made out of vinyl as opposed to rubber towards the end of the company's run. I think they started to make it out of more cheaper, lightweight vinyl as opposed to rubber. Here's another example of a man and a woman out for a nice drive. And it's 2 copies of this particular vehicle, but they're a little different in that this one has white wheels and it's much lighter. So I suspect maybe this was made out of cheaper lightweight vinyl as opposed to this, which is heavier and may be rubber, the one with the yellow wheels. And we'll take a look at the detailing inside here, and you can see it from the back a little bit. I should also note that of the 7 pieces used to construct this thing, the axles have a little flared tip at the end there to keep the wheels on, so it's really a nice little design. And here I have a yellow example of this same vehicle, and years ago I came across a guy at a flea market, and he must have acquired what is known as new old stock, which is in perfect condition. It's just things that had never been sold, and they're the ones with the white tires, and they all seem to be the lighter weight vinyl. And I'm guessing that these were produced towards the end of the company being in existence. And here again we have an example of 2 vehicles with the same design, but the red one with yellow tires appears to be a heavier one, and this, again, this lightweight one with the white wheels seems to me would be a newer version of it. This is a very large piece of Auburn here. This is a substantial piece, and it has a nice driver in here you can see, and it has the red body and the yellow wheels. And to give you some scale, here's what the smaller little hot rod looks like, so you can see that's quite a bit larger Auburn vehicle. I never saw this when I was growing up, but I was kind of delighted to find that Auburn also made people. So here we have a policeman, and this looks like a farm couple here, a woman carrying eggs, and perhaps he's a farmer, perhaps not. And here, this guy, I think he was working at a gas station. One of the coolest things there is an Auburn boy on a tricycle. And I bought this a couple of years ago at a flea market, and it cost me a little bit of money. And years before that, I saw one at a toy show that was mint in the package, and boy, I wish I would have got that one. There's the other side view of the Auburn boy on a tricycle. Here's an interesting and unusual piece. It's a Auburn tomahawk with a wooden handle and a rubber blade, and here you can see there's an Indian chief, and then on top it says Auburn Toys, made in the USA. This is perhaps the crown jewel of my Auburn collection, in that I have the original packaging of an Auburn Army set, and as you can see, it's soft and it's safe, and it describes it as rubber-like vinyl. And this was important to parents because these toys, the kids couldn't throw them around and really wreck up their house and dent it up. And here you can see on the side of the box that this Army set comes with 4 vehicles and 16 different soldiers. This box is falling apart, but it's still nice to have it, and the insides are all there, and you can see here's a covered truck, and there's a half track like I showed you earlier that they have. And this one, Tom and I also had this Jeep, which is, a guy sitting in a Jeep and has a little cannon that is dragging behind him. And here inside you have an unopened bag of the Auburn Rubber Soldiers in different poses. And here's the Auburn tank, and again there's a little guy in there, and he's got a big gun. And last, but certainly not least, is this oddity, and what a treasure this is, the Auburn Horseshoe Set. And as you can see on the side of the box, it says it's unbreakable, safe, sanitary, and will not mar. You could probably play this in the house, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Now, this box is in pretty good shape. We'll take a look inside the box, and it's equally a nice set in here, and it's all complete. So here's the horseshoes, and I'll set it up for you. So there we have it. It's 2 bases with pegs and 4 horseshoes, 2 for each side. And it's a ringer! On the back of the box are the handy rules for the horseshoe game, which I have to admit I don't think I ever really knew how to play horseshoes, so it's pretty handy to have something like this. And I guess it's kind of like jarts or bocce ball, really. I see at the bottom that this was made in Deming, New Mexico, so this would date this after 1959. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Toy Room. Until next time, stay playful. Auburn.